Okay everyone, here we go with a syllabus video just to kind of orient you into the class, make sure everybody knows where we are and what's expected this semester, and just to kind of give you a little introduction to me. So I am Dr. Webster. This is my office location. If you are in Commerce and stop by sometime, let me know and I can meet you there if we need to. My office hours are Monday and Wednesday, 2 to 3:30. And I will be, most of the time I'll be in my office during those times, actually physically in my office. But aside from that, if I'm not, if you want to meet up with me in advance, just let me know. I can meet you in my office, or we can be online through Skype, or nowadays it should be Zoom, I know. But so if you know in advance you want to talk to me, the easiest thing to do is just email me. I will be sitting by my email for sure Monday and Wednesday, 2 to 3:30. And if I know you're coming, I'll go ahead and send you a Zoom link and we can just meet online or face-to-face, whatever. Okay, and my email is right here, so if you need to email me, that would be how you do it. Okay, the nice thing about this course, this is Research Techniques for STEM and Education Majors, and the really nice thing is there is no textbook for this course, so you do not have to purchase anything as far as that goes. We're going to be finding online, in the library, whatever resources you have to find things. We're going to be finding journal articles, grant applications, and other things that I ask you to find during the semester, like IRB procedures and stuff like that. A lot of it will be things that I post online in D2L in our course shell so that you can read them. One of the first assignments that I ask you to do is to look for an RFA, which is a request for applications. And you'll see that there's another video that I'm making that will be posted online in day 1 of our course that says here are the major assignments for this course, and gives you a little bit of an outline of what we're doing. So RFA, request for applications, or RFP, request for proposals, that's what goes out whenever we're looking for people to write grants. Okay, it's called a solicitation. We're soliciting grant writers. So the request for the application, or the request for the proposal, is what we use to say, hey, you guys, come on and submit your proposal, and then hopefully that would get funding. So the idea behind this class is that it is mostly oriented toward the person pursuing a graduate degree and or who wishes to work in higher education. So, and I'll get more of this in another video, but the idea here is to help you see the types of research that people will be doing, both as a master's student, maybe if you go on for a doctorate degree, if you have to write a dissertation, and if you want to work in higher education, or even if you're in secondary education. I have friends in secondary ed who actually write grants. So this will help you see that process, I hope, and prepare yourself for the things you need to do. I'm going to say writing a grant is a lot of work, okay? But if we do it right this semester, we will have the foundation for a grant. And I have had people before submit those grants. We have not had one funded out of this class yet, but I have had them submit their RFAs, or their proposals, and at least get feedback and see what the company or the institution that asked for the proposals is looking for, how they felt about your proposal, all that kind of stuff. So topics include, but aren't limited to, institutional review boards. We'll talk about those. Research conduct, what's allowed and what's not. And then we're going to prepare the basics of a Math 595. So the nice thing is, if you've already done your 595, or if you're already in that process, you should already have the pages that I'm going to ask you to write. So that's nice, it's done. If you don't have that done yet, or maybe you don't even know your topic yet, hopefully this will help you focus and look, hey, what am I going to do for my 595? Or if you're writing a thesis, 518 for math, what topics am I looking for, and it'll help you set up some of the basic pages like your cover sheet and your copyright page, things like that, so that at least you've knocked out some of the stuff and it's gotten you into the process, even if you're not ready to commit fully to writing your 595. So I'm not asking you to write your 595 in this class. Don't freak out on me. We will be looking at the sections of the 595 or the thesis, and we will be looking at what I consider them kind of the peripheral pages. So we will be doing a literature review on your topic. So you will have to kind of pick a topic. Hopefully it's a topic you're interested in. Hopefully it's a topic you've already been thinking about. And for instance, I know I have a student who talked to me about doing a math history 595 paper. Well, if you're interested in that, then you need to go and kind of narrow that down. Math history is really big. It goes from 3000 BC, right? So what area are we looking at? Do we want to focus in on one particular mathematician or one particular topic? I had a student do a 595 in fractions throughout math history. Now, you guys can't do that because she's already done it, but you could look at, I don't know, geometry throughout math history, or you could look at, a particular person's works and how that has affected our modern day math, or something like that. And that's just in math history. Like if you are really, really interested in writing code or something like that, you might want to work with Dr. Sirikov, and you might have a topic. So it's time for you to probably start thinking about that. Even if later on you go, I wrote this thing for Dr. Webster, and I thought I was going to, do something on, whatever, Carl Gauss, but I really don't like that topic. Now I think I'm going to do women in history or something like that. That's great, You don't have to stick with this. This is just getting you into the process to see what's going on. We'll also write a basic research article, and again, this is a dummy paper, so it can be something that you want to publish. We are going to find, for instance, journals that we like that we'll figure out what are their requirements and what do I need to do if I'm writing a paper for them. And if you have a topic, you can go ahead and write your paper, absolutely, and I will proof it during this class. But if you're like, I don't know what topic, maybe I want to do something on calculus or this or that, then you can just kind of write a dummy paper. It doesn't have to be submitted to the journal, but it would be nice if it was ready to submit, if you could get it that far. Okay, this is a special topics course. That basically means that you cannot comp in this class. It is not part of our math core curriculum. Like math history is one of those. The statistics series sequence is one of those, but this course is not. So, and all you have to be in this course is a graduate student. So there you go. All right, course content. Basically, I just talked to you about that, so I'm going to skip on over. You guys can read at the top of page 2 your own student learning outcomes. I'm not worried about that. This is an online class. I've taught this class both ways, face-to-face and online, and I'm going to tell you, I felt like we were much more successful the times that I taught it face-to-face, just because it was easier to bounce questions off of each other. It was easier. We knew we were going to see each other a couple of times a week, and so that made it nicer for the students to get stuff together, right? And to be able to say, hey, I found this. What do y'all think about that? Especially when we get into the grant writing portion of the class. It's going to be a group project, so you need to be able to communicate, okay, I'm going to do this section of the grant, and you do that section of the grant. Let's work together on the budget, and I pass ideas around to each other. So it's easier to do that kind of stuff face-to-face. That's why in this class I have said that even though we are face-to-face, we will try to make one time a week, at least, where we can have a time and meet on Zoom, so that you guys can bounce ideas around. This is not necessarily, we're going to meet for the 3 hours of the course no matter what. That's not what I'm saying. This is like, okay, if we can do what we need to do and 30 minutes or an hour, then great. But if we need more time to communicate, and even if that's like we're just all on Zoom and y'all are just working away, and every once in a while you say, hey, I have a question, or what do you guys think about that? Then we could just work on Zoom. That would be okay. But I just find that having a time when we're actually able to communicate real time instead of having a delay in email or, discussion boards, whatever, that just really helped. The last time I taught this, it was fully online, and I had difficulties with that part. So just letting you know, there will be kind of a face-to-face / Zoom component of this particular course. Okay, tips for success in the course. This isn't a standard math graduate course. You're not going to be in class with me 3 hours a week and then working on your homework 9 or 10 hours a week. It doesn't go like that. In fact, you'll find that my videos, I'll have a video for each of the topics, but they're relatively short because this is a class where you are doing stuff, you are writing stuff, you're finding stuff, you're going and looking for requests for proposals and stuff like that. You're looking for journal articles. You're looking at the journal requirements for your journal article. So this does not, it's not a typical we're going to be working math problems kind of thing. You're going to be writing in this class because that's what we do in research. A lot of writing, a lot of times. So, but I will say to be successful, and it's there in that paragraph about tips to be successful, you need to be participating. If you ignore this course, well, first of all, let me tell you how I do things. There is daily work. Here's my grading section. There is daily work, and in general, the way I do this is if I assign something on Monday or Tuesday of the week, it's due that Thursday. That is a very fast turnaround time. Normally I give people a week, but this is a 5-week class, and yeah, it's a 16-week class that we've crammed into 5 weeks. So there's a lot of work in here, and there's not a lot of turnaround time. So I want you to think about, okay, I'm going to have stuff due on Thursday for sure, pretty much every week. And if it's a Wednesday or a Thursday that I made the assignment, normally those are due on Sunday, okay? So that just kind of gives you an idea that most of the time you're going to have stuff due on Thursday and Sunday every week. It's only a 5-week class. So basically that's 4 weeks, 8 times, right? That's not a lot. But there is some stuff that I'm going to want you to do quickly. For instance, there's some stuff in day 1, like the pre-course survey, that I want you to do it very fast because you need to have done the pre-course survey before you start seeing content, like what's an RFA. I already gave you one of those answers away, right? So if you watched this before you took the pre-course survey, please be honest about that. Did you know what RFA meant before you heard me say it? So, because I want to know where your level is before we start. And there will also be a post-course survey. And it's basically, I'll tell you honestly, it's mostly the same questions, and you just have to say whether or not you know it now. So hopefully you learn some stuff in 5 weeks. That's what we're after there, pre-test, post-test kind of situation. All right, so there is this daily work, and that's normally how it's going to be, unless there's a special date on it. And I will say, okay, this is due tomorrow. So don't just assume I can check in on Thursday. You can't. You have to look at this class every single day, Monday through Thursday. I'm not asking for weekend time, but Monday through Thursday, there will be a day 1, a day 2, a day 3, a day 4 this week. That's 4 days, Monday through Thursday this week. And inside of there may be some stuff that's due on Tuesday. And I'll put the specific date there. But mostly you'll think there's stuff due Thursday and Sunday. But don't wait until Thursday or Sunday to look at this because you'll be behind the curve. You're just going to be behind the curve. And you don't want to be behind the curve. You want to be one of the people that's out in front of the curve, that's looking at assignments and going, hey, I found this really cool grant RFA. Does anybody want to do this? Or is anybody being able to find grant RFAs? Maybe we're not finding any anywhere, so we need to know about that. Anyway, that daily work, it's just homework type stuff, 20 quizzes, things like that, 25%, okay? Projects and participation in interviews, surveys, and other assessment materials. That is 50% of your course, Okay, so that's pretty heavy. There's an individual project and a group project for sure. And then there's other little stuff throughout the semester. And for instance, I mentioned the pre-course survey. That counts in your project grade, okay? Now, the nice thing is that there are right or wrong answers, but this is a pre-survey. I don't expect you to know this stuff, right? So if you missed every single stinking question on that pre-course survey, it's okay. You're going to get 100 for having done it, okay? Because that's just an assessment of where you are right now. Now, hopefully, when we get to the point of the post-course survey, hopefully at that point you'll be like, oh, I know this, and hopefully you're getting everything right, and so that's good, right? That's what we're hoping for. Anyway, those things are 50% of that. That means when I tell you to write a journal article, you have to get that thing written, right? And there are firm due dates in this class, so please pay attention to those as we go along, because there's just not enough time for us to catch up if you don't turn in your paper for a week after it was due, right? Because we've already moved on as a class. So please, please, please stay ahead of things. And if you get caught behind, don't just ignore it. Please contact me and communicate with me, and we'll see what we can do to get you back on track. But that piece is 50%. And then there's a required comprehensive final exam that's 25%. Okay? So there's your 100% of your grade right there. The interesting thing about the comprehensive final, at least it's interesting for me, is because this is an online class, because this is a research-based class, I don't feel like I need to send you to a testing center to take your test. And honestly, I'm okay if you're using your resources, because that's part of research, right? Is to know where the source is that you need to go to. So if you watch all the videos and take notes, okay, I would recommend taking notes when you watch the videos, so that some of the stuff is like RFA, and you'll get the definition for that. And then you're like, okay, and eventually within 5 weeks, you're going to be very used to hearing that acronym, right? RFA, I think that's an acronym. Yeah. Anyways, you're going to be really used to that. But there's other stuff like IRB. What is that? I don't know. Well, we'll find out during the course of the semester, and if you take notes on it, then when we get to the final exam, it will be it's the way I do for this class online is I post it under the quizzes section. It'll say final exam, and I give you a 2-hour block to take it. Okay? So you, at that time, make sure you're all by yourself and nobody's going to distract you, and you've got your notes and you've got whatever you've been working on, your projects and stuff like that, and it's all sitting right there and you're ready to go. Then you open the quiz, which will be the final exam, and you say, okay, here's my stuff. It's going to be it's going to be true, false, short answer, multiple choice, and a lot of essay stuff, okay? Because, as you can imagine, I want to know what you know here, so you're going to have to write me some essay answers. So that's what goes on with that comprehensive final. Almost everybody makes an A or a B on that final. I've had very, very few people who do not make an A or a B on that final exam. So it should be pretty good, and that's even without notes and books. The thing about having your notes and your articles or whatever there with you, though, is you need to be organized going into the final exam, because if you just have a big pile of stuff there and you're trying to find what you're looking for as you take the exam, it might actually slow you down, right, to have all those resources. So you might have them in groups. Here's my grant stuff, here's my journal article stuff, here's my 595 stuff, or whatever works for you, so that it's easy for you to see the process, right? Okay, so that's how your grade's going to be assessed. Daily work, I mentioned that, homework, quizzes, things like that. Summer course, no extra time, get it done. Let me know if you're running behind, because we have to fix that really quickly. The one thing I will say is, if there's something, now if it's a Word document like your journal articles, you can make that easily from your computer, turn that into, because it's going to be typed, right? You can easily turn in a document, doc, or you can make it into a PDF, like if you're using Google or if you're using a Mac. I can't read that stuff, the pages stuff or whatever, so you will need to make that into a PDF, but it's going to be something typed, and you'll just submit that. That's easy, right? But if it's something where you've been handwriting things, and you need to turn that in, then what I'm going to say is you really need either a scanner or you need a scanning app. Okay, and I don't care about those. What I don't want to see is you take your phone and snap, 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 and put a whole bunch of JPEGs into the homework folders, right? Because that is not very readable on my end. A lot of times you'll have, like you can see, I'm leaving shadows on the paper with my hand, right? So things are turning gray. A lot of times around the edges will be really dark. So there's a glare here. When you do that with your phone or your tablet or whatever, it's really difficult for me to grade, okay? And especially if there's like 8 pages, well, now I have to open each separate file, and it really irritates me. You don't want me irritated when I'm grading stuff. So we have this process in the math department where we want you to use one single file to turn in as a .pdf, okay, not JPEGs and so on. And if you submit something, you're like, oh man, it's a homework or whatever, I leave my folders open so that if you come in later and go, I didn't like what I submitted, I want to resubmit, you can just upload another file and it'll be okay. So D2L for me should allow you to do that, okay? So the assignments, and there's an announcement in D2L that tells you you will go under content each week, and then it'll say there's already one there that says day 1, day 2, and so on. Okay, and at the very top there's overview. So overview is where I talk a little bit about what the course is. That's where this video will be, and it's where you can find your syllabus if you need another copy of your syllabus. So that's one of your spots that you're going to go to really regularly is content. And in D2L on my computer, it's top left. Okay, and then each day I'll open up a thing. I'll try to do them a week in advance so that you have the whole entire week so you can see all 4 days, but like for instance, I'm sure that for day 1, I've only got day 1 up there whenever you guys come into the course because I'm going to be running late. But on day 1, I'll try to turn on day 2, day 3, day 4 so you can see the week. But for sure, I'll get them up, say, by midnight the night before the next day. So, but I'm going to try for a week. Anyway, you need to do that. Save it, appropriately. If you're handwriting stuff, put a header. I've got the header thing, like your name and the course, or even page numbers, because sometimes people, whenever they do their scans, they lose pages, right? So maybe you only have page 1, 2, and 5, and I'm like, okay, where's 3 and 4? And so then I can specifically tell you, I'm missing pages 3 and 4, like go scan those and upload them, right? So just try to make it as user-friendly for both of us as we possibly can, okay? So the attendance, you're expected to be there, and if we can decide on a time when everybody can meet on Zoom, you'll be expected to be there too. 2 projects, the major ones in this class. The individual project will be due on June 23rd, and the class project, which is our grant writing, will be due on July 5th. This class goes until, I think it's July 7th is our last day, and then here's the final exam, which will be on our last day. All right, all this technology stuff, I'm going to kind of skip over it. At this point, if you've been an online student, I think you probably know you need a webcam by now. For sure, you know you need internet access and email, a video camera if you're going to be recording yourself to do stuff. A printer is probably useful. If I put up, for instance, well, once we decide what grant proposal we're going to write on, once the class decides that, we're going to go, okay, now we have this grant proposal. It might be good for you to print that grant proposal so you can see everything that's required on it, and you can highlight or you can mark it out or whatever. Okay, we did that piece. We're done. So a printer is useful in this class, on these online classes in particular. Calculator, we don't really need a calculator in this class because, like I said, we're not doing a lot of math, except for maybe what you're writing your 595 proposal. But we will be writing a grant, and there is a budget portion to that. So we will need to do some calculations. It's not like we're not doing anything in this class. All of our stuff will be loaded into D2L, and you can read through that stuff about navigating. So this is what the back of the third page, page 6. And I did not put page numbers on this thing, dang it. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. And then here's all the stuff about how to, that's just the legalese, so to speak, of the class. So I'm going to try to give you everything you need to be successful, but you've got to watch the videos. You've got to participate. You got to be, asking me questions if you've got them. You've got to be talking amongst yourselves, and that is so hard on an online class. So I'll give you lots of discussion board opportunities. There's already a couple open right now. So there's an introduction that you need to make to your group. There's the first step for the grant writing process, so loading up RFAs or RFPs. And then I think I already have the student lounge available, so if you just have a general question for other students that you think other students can answer, then just shove that into the student lounge, and hopefully somebody will respond pretty quickly. If they don't respond to you, of course, I'm willing to answer those questions as well. But a lot of times your classmates are the best places to ask. What did she say about blah, 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 or whatever. If there are changes, I'll let you know. Changes to the syllabus. Student conduct. Everybody needs to treat each other with respect. That's basically what that boils down to. There's a lot of communicating, like I said, in this class. We have to value each other's opinions about, I keep on coming back to grants, but that's one of the major things that we do in here. What we think our grant should be written about or whatever. And it'll eventually come down to majority rules, or if there's kind of a tie thing, then I will make the final decision based on what I think we can do in the 5-week class. But in the meantime, if somebody doesn't think the same as you do, it's okay to disagree. Just do so respectfully, please. Okay, remember to be as diplomatic as possible, especially in your posts, because once it's out in print, it doesn't come back, right? So be aware of that. Attendance, academic integrity. There is a question on your syllabus quiz about things that are included in academic integrity. In this class, more so than somebody else saw the test before you, which is a typical one, it's more about making sure you're not plagiarizing and that you're giving the person who wrote the original due credit, right? So give credit to your sources. If you have a student disability, then please contact G Library. Oh, that is not G Library anymore. I am so sorry. Waters Library. I thought I caught all of those, but clearly I stole this from a couple of years ago and I did not update that. Anyway, please contact the library, the disabilities office, and tell them that you want to release your accommodations to me, because until I have that email from the disabilities office, I can't give you extra stuff. So, and by that I mean like, if there's a time limit or something like that, sometimes you can get an extension, things to that nature. So make sure you've released that if you want me to know. If you don't want me to know, then don't tell me, but just realize that you can't get accommodations that way. Okay. Non-discrimination notice. We are not going to discriminate against anybody based on any of those things. Counseling center. This is always available. It's a service for our students, and it is free of charge to you. So if you feel like you need to talk to somebody about anything, if you're stressed, it could be you're anxious about this grant proposal that's coming up, or it could be way more serious situations, then these are trained professional counselors that are on staff at the university. So please, please, please take advantage of this service if you need to. They're in the Student Services Building, room 203, and there is their phone number if you need it, so be aware. This one doesn't really apply to us because we're online, but if you happen to be on campus meeting with me, you can only carry a concealed handgun if you have a license to carry. All right. The last page here is probably the last 2 pages, I guess, that you're going to want the most spend the most time with. Here's your course outline. I already have uploaded in day one positions at institutions of higher education, like a whole entire video where I talk about the differences between, say, a community college versus a university, tenure track versus non-tenure track. You might think you know some of that stuff, or you might be like, I have no clue about any of that stuff. I hope I fill in some gaps that maybe you had a question about that you didn't know, what happens in higher education. And so that video is already up there. And then as we go through, we'll also work this week. We'll start talking about journals, 590 papers. Everything gets touched on this week, basically, because I've got to give you your assignments now, if that makes sense. This is week 1. Let me come down here to the actual timeline. This is week 1, and your individual project, we said, was June 23rd. It's on the next page, but I don't want to flip. So the individual project is due in week 3, okay? That means I got to tell you now so you can start working on it, right? And there's a lot of independent time when you're just going to have to, buckle down and make yourself do things. So the pre-course survey is due on day 2. If you, for whatever reason, are running a little behind and you don't watch these videos today, then please get it as soon as you can. But, I really want this before you do anything else. Most everything else is due on Thursday this week, including bringing in a grant RFP. All right. Week 2, we're going to have a grant chosen, hopefully by the Tuesday. That's my plan. And you're going to be working on your 595s in the meantime, your templates, the individual pages, and I have those templates loaded up for you. I think in day 2 you'll see those, but it'll be this week you'll see them because you got to start turning stuff in next week. It is really fast paced. I have that up here, right? Very short, very fast paced. It's 5 weeks. So it is very doable. I've done this class actually many, many times now, like probably, 7 or 8 times now. So to me, that's many, many. It's not my first time. It's not my first rodeo. So I know that this stuff is doable, but I also know you're going to have to really focus and set aside time to do this class. You cannot just try to do it on the weekends or one day a week or something like that. This class is not set up that way. So you can tell that by the fact that we have stuff due on different days of the week, right? So, here, I've got some stuff due on Tuesdays, right? That's more like we're going to make a decision by that day. It's not like you have to turn something in. But here on this Tuesday, I've got you turning stuff in. So there's things out there. Maybe I changed it to Tuesday. I'm not seeing Sundays on here. It looks like I changed it to Tuesday, so I may have lied to you. Anyway, so here's that individual project on the 23rd, and then week 4, we're doing kind of learning stuff. What's an IRB? What's this? What's that? There's a lot of discussion time built in for this because you're writing your grant proposal. There's a lot of time for you to say, hey, what about this in the budget or whatever. And then you notice that here's week 5, the Tuesday. So I think I did lie. I'm not seeing Sundays now. I must have changed that. So sorry about that. But so here we go. The group project turn-in is on Tuesday, July 5th, and then here's all your end of semester stuff on Thursday, July 7th. So let me go back and edit. I know it's a little late for that, but sorry about that. I'm just not seeing Sundays. I used to have this set up for Thursday and Sunday, but I must have decided to treat it like a Tuesday-Thursday class is what this looks like. So we'll say Tuesday. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys, sorry. So anyway, there you go. That's the basics of this class. If you go in and look at day 1, by the time you guys are watching this video, there should be a video up there about the major projects in the class and more detail about what's due and when and just like the steps that we're going to have to take. So saying that we're going to write a grant proposal, oh my gosh, but once I put it step by step, I promise you this, because I've done this before. If you hit the deadlines that I give you for when to submit your RFAs, for instance, like if you can do that this week, then we can decide before Tuesday what grant we're going to do. I mean, it can be done. Because that's all the way from Thursday to Tuesday. That's plenty of time for us to have a discussion about, okay, what are we going to do about this grant proposal? But if you're not staying on top of things, if we're dragging behind, it's going to be very difficult for us to get that turned in week 5. Okay, but when you think about it, it's over a month for us to get a draft of a proposal, grant proposal. That's plenty of time. I've written grant proposals in a week, so now that's a week of concentrated time, but we should be able to do this in over a month, so it's okay. So there we are. Remaining enrolled in this class means that you are good with all these policies in the syllabus, you've read it, and that you are okay. So if you have questions about the syllabus, please ask them before you go take the syllabus quiz. It's pretty straightforward stuff, I think. But if not, then you can go take your syllabus quiz, and good luck. And I'm looking forward to a great semester. Thanks.